Again, it's D&D on Castle Mac. Here we are. It's I guess we're still the Macolites, right? Even though we're about 2 months away from a year into this game.
Yep.
But yeah, so we're back. It's our Wednesday to play D&D 5e, and we're in the middle of I can't reach it, but it used to be Into the Borderlands, the Goodman Games redo of the B1, B2 modules from way back in the ancient days of D&D. But our intrepid adventurers, a couple of sessions ago, finally got the hell out of Cascaton. Oh my gosh. You guys were in there probably about 7 sessions. Big dungeon crawl. And they got what they were looking for, the Star of Ages, right? Zeliger's Bane. And when last we were hanging out, they were in, what did we decide we were going to call that little settlement? Arnduland.
Yeah, Arnduland.
Elvish encampment on the edge of the kingdom of Nyrond. And they were grilling some elves. And by grilling, I don't mean over charcoal. I mean, they were asking questions and learning things. And so we're going to dive into that. But first, I think we should meet our band of heroes. Let's start with our friend Letherus, the Minotaur.
Hi, I'm Abby. I play Letherus, the Minotaur Barbarian. Emotional support for the team. Funny southern accent, just a good old farm boy.
Yes, we're so glad to have you with us because lately there's been need for emotional support. Tears have been shed in the last few episodes. Not last week, but not too long ago. Speaking of tears, Pavel, what's going on?
Hi, I'm Devin. I play Pavel, the human arcane archer, and overall curious book boy. And I'm about to open a scroll tube very, very quickly upon the start of this episode that we were told not to open. And
things are getting interesting. Yeah, the elves have been feeding you some stuff.
I just knocked everything off my desk.
Awesome. All right. How about we hear from Harlow next?
Hi, I am Miss Misery, and I am playing Harlow, the Golden Tiefling Warlock.
All right, very good. Good to see you. Tell me more about something exciting. Anything?
She's worried.
She's worried?
Very worried.
Yeah.
Harlow? Harlow, really?
From the DM's perspective, that's a good place for you to be, I think. Concerned. Maybe concerned is the word we're looking for. All right, and everybody's favorite little Earth Genasi.
I'm Shanalogic across all the internet, and I am playing Flint, the increasingly gay dumpster fire of this team of weirdos. And I also have a very important message before we start. Our lovely DM Wiley has ancient technology. Not really cool ancient technology that you'd find in a tomb, but ancient technology like... This thing is worse than a pencil. It cuts out. It causes bad audio, and it is a laptop that needs to die. So what we're going to do is we are going to raise money to get a new laptop. And I'm putting that link, the Indiegogo of Wiley Gets Teched Up campaign, in chat. Any amount you donate would be great. There are some rewards for certain amounts, including a mimic chest made by me, made out of perler beads, and made with love. So much love. And tarot card readings from the lovely Oddity Price, Kayla's mysterious character, who is in our new Marsh campaign.
Yes.
And also, so charitably of Kayla, tabletop loot gift card for a set of dice is also on the line here.
Nice. Thank
so
you.
If you don't,
very nice gesture.
Then you're evil, and I don't like you.
I can't donate. Does that make me evil?
Well,
because I have no money other than for food.
It's okay. What you can do if you can't donate is spread the word.
What a great idea!
Oh, you're like marketing people. Well, thank you. That's a very kind gesture. And I think I want to talk to you a little bit, Shannon, about some up in the ante on some of the prizes. Maybe I could DM some one-shots or something. Not that I'm like, the DM of all DMs, but, there's nothing wrong with getting it on a game, man.
DM, and that is why I'm doing this.
I appreciate it very much. I'm humbled and flattered and eternally grateful at the gesture. So see what kind of love we got going on up in here. What a wonderful party. I've only made them cry a couple times, and still they try to get me money for a new laptop. If you think that's going to buy my kindness, though, that's where I draw the line. Hey, and we are missing a very important and wonderful friend by the likes of Sheena, likes the villain. She plays Lyala Bright, and that's a war cleric of Tritherion. And she is off visiting family because she is a proud new aunt.
Yeah.
Or aunt. Not sure how she rolls with that, but yeah, so she will be unable to join us tonight, but she is in our hearts and in our minds, and we miss her dearly. And so that's, I think, most of the housekeeping, right? Yeah, we will be rolling these tonight. We aren't going to roll 20. We also go pretty well full-on theater of the mind, mostly because I'm old and I suck at making maps and roll 20 and all of that, but that's how I grew up playing D&D, and it's nice to occasionally see a little theater of the mind out there on the interwebs. So it seems to be working for us. So, are you all ready to do stuff? Is there any other housekeeping or announcing or politicking? Anything? Are you ready? Okay, so we are in session 19. Hard to believe. Kind of amazing. And as such, last session you got out of the Gamboge Forest and into the grasslands, and you encountered your elf friends, and you ran across Tennille, and he brought you to the elven encampment on Dulanth. And you were in the longhouse. There's a longhouse. It's right at the edge of the Gamboge Forest. So it's not in the forest, but there are trees in camp. There was a big mound that had some sort of an entrance door in the side of it, and then a smaller sort of a storage building, if you will, where they probably keep goods and equipment and so forth. And so when you were last playing 2 weeks ago, you were meeting with Tanel, Rania, and Elyon, and they were just kind of sharing some news with you. And so that's where we will...
Rowan, the wizard.
And Rowan, yes. And that's where we are going to pick things up.
Yes.
It was midday, by the way, and you were lunching, as I recall.
Yeah. No, Rowan had just... Well, I think we ate, but Rowan had just told us some of the things the Star of Ages can do.
Yes.
And then I had taken a knife, and I put it up to the wax seal of the tube. And I, looked at everybody.
And that
is
where we ended.
Is it anyone's gonna stop me?
Well, he's...
Definitely. But Harlow first.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Do it. Do your thing.
I was going to say, I'm watching the elves and watching the room and trying to get a feel for how they're looking at this. Like, if it's ill intent or good, or if they're bracing themselves. I'm just trying to get a look at the room.
The elves are curious. They're kind of almost like...
Sorry.
Kinda,
great.
They're not, they don't seem fearful. They're more curious than anything.
Okay. I don't do anything, though.
Blint is going to say, once you do this, we can't go back. We've betrayed him,
Well, we can't.
and he will try to kill us. You know this.
We can't go back to him, but we can go back to the surrounding area. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I run the knife around, very carefully, and I pop the stopper on the tube.
Okay.
And
You pop the stopper on the tube.
Set the stopper down, tip the tube out into my hand, and...
There is a rolled up piece of parchment that begins to make its way out of the tube.
Okay. I'll carefully pull it out. Is the paper really old? Does it look like it's very brittle?
It's old, but it doesn't appear that it's going to break to dust and crumbs and all of that.
I'm going to very carefully unroll it, on the table, take, little, a fork or something, and put it on the corner. Not the eating part, the other end part, the handle part.
Set a glass of water on it,
Yeah. No, nothing that'll cause condensation. I'm trying to be very careful, okay?
Yes. No, so you're able to secure...
I'm used to handling brittle old paper, okay?
Yes. So before you, you have a parchment unrolled, and it has handwritten script in common. Would you like to read it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. It does not, Pavel, you've seen spell scrolls, and just at first blush, if any of you are leaned over looking at her, it does not appear to be a spell scroll.
Okay.
And in the flowery script, I'll read to you what it says. Whoever you are, if you have found this without me, then I have died. This is a very powerful device only an accomplished wizard can use. It helped me grow into the powerful wizard I've become, and will aid you in the same way, assuming you're a wizard of some ability. I've kept the Star of Ages a secret from the world, for there will be those who wish to take it and use it to some fell purpose. You must attune yourself to this item for 1 week before you may begin to understand and use its arcane powers. There is a word that you must memorize and utter to activate the Star of Ages. That word will come to you in meditation as you attune to the item. You must fast and separate yourself from all contact during the week of meditation and study. Use the spell below to connect yourself with the Star of Ages at the end of your week of attunement, and the activating word will come to you. Please, and you notice the word please is written in larger, more firmly pressed script. Please use this gift wisely, and wisely is underlined. It came to me from my master years and years ago and must be preserved and kept hidden. And must is all caps. Pass this along to the next wizard who you find to be most worthy of this item. Pavel, at there's one more paragraph with some symbols and things, and it's all written in Dwarvish runes, and they look to be, based on your studies, your knowledge of Dwarvish, they look to be of an older, more ancient Dwarven tongue.
Look at that, yeah. Yeah. I do read Dwarvish.
Yes. You can tell it is a spell of consociation.
Spell of what?
Consociation. Consociation.
Okay, consociation. Nice.
And it's a high level wizard spell.
Yep.
And just by looking at it that, like, you can read Dwarven runes and all that, but what you're reading in Dwarven just doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah. Okay.
If that makes sense. It's way out of your pay grade.
Yep. Okay. I will, carefully.
So that's what it says. I will copy and paste this into Discord so that you all have it.
Okay. I will carefully roll it back up. And slide it back into the tube. Pop the stopper back on. And then are there candles around?
It's actually, the longhouse has got windows in it, and it's midday, so there are no candles lit. There are a couple on, that big stone hearth at the one end of the longhouse. There's a few candles up on the stone hearth.
I'm gonna run and grab one of the candles, bring it back over to the table. I'm gonna light it, and then I'm gonna very carefully, keeping the thing high up so it doesn't get on the flame directly.
Sure.
Reseal the tube.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do that, but the perfection of the wax seal is not going to be restorable without the ring made it. But yeah, you can reseal it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes. And so, if any of you were watching the elves, you could see some eyebrows shoot up, like, oh my goodness, this seems like big deal.
Did we find a ring when we were in the queue that had a signet on it?
It was, yeah, we found a ring of like armor or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, but it wasn't like Zelliger's ring.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't
Like
like
a
sig-
like
it had a
with
little
a
shield on
or
it.
a
Yeah,
crest
it's
or anything.
freedom protection that I have.
Yep. Yeah, definitely not the same because we've seen Zelgar's like logo basically. I believe it was emblazoned on that room on a wall in the room we thought was his bedroom.
Yeah.
Spellbook, probably, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we've seen it. I know it was mentioned at some point. I just can't remember exactly where.
It was one of those, his library or his room or something.
Yeah.
And so Tanil,
You need to
leads
settle on
in-
how you're pronouncing that guy's name.
I know I've said it about 4 different ways. I think I'm going to go with Tanil.
Okay.
Tanil. I don't like Tanil because then I hear like love will keep us together. Captain and Tanil. Tanil. Leans in. Well, would seem you have quite the item here with this Star of Ages. What do you intend to do with it?
For now, nothing. None of us are high-level wizards, so none of us would be able to use it. And I don't think we've met anyone we trust enough to give it to. You all have obviously been very helpful, but we don't really know you. I hope you understand.
Understood. I would not wish to have such an item here. Whoever may be looking for this, I don't know that we could defend against them anyway. So, it sounds as if you're concerned you've now placed yourselves in grave danger,
Potentially.
having opened the scroll tube.
I think it was really the only due course of action with the holes in our employer's story. I just didn't feel we can reliably give it to him without understanding what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we know what it is, I'm still at a loss. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what we do.
Sure.
I'm not sure if I would be in any immediate danger because he doesn't know who I am. But if he comes after you guys, then obviously he'll have to pry you through my cold, dead hands.
This boy.
The elf kind of smirks. I see. Well, it's good that you have good friends. And he smiled at the elf. So what next?
We're not really sure. We have a couple things that we want to do. One is to travel to the mine that you mentioned before.
Yes, the Black Mine.
Potentially eradicate the undead threat there, or at least figuring out what's causing it.
Kind of raises an eyebrow.
And I sort of like look at Harlow because that was something you and Flint had sort of like talked about. Like I look at you two.
There's something there that needs to be taken care of, and Flint's family's been involved. I personally believe it's priority, but if there's something else we must do.
Well, I can say that this is Tano, but I would like to offer you safe lodging this evening, and for that matter, as long as you care to stay amongst us. You'll be safe here. You can rest, provision yourselves, and perhaps we can counsel before you go and help you with next steps. I'm expecting an arrival in camp anytime now. One of the military leaders from the Kingdom of Nairon militia will be coming up to collect intelligence and share information and so forth, and he should be arriving at some point later today. Kurlis Belden is his name, and he will be in. He's a priest and a leader in the Nairandese militia, and he will likely have information. You may be able to ask him some questions, but that would certainly be worth your time.
Do you have any
What
traders
else?
here?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any traders here?
No, not too many come through, and there's certainly none here now. The road is far enough north and east of us. We're off the beaten path somewhat. But if it is trading you seek to do, my best suggestion would be to make your way to the trading outpost Stone Meat.
Yes, we've heard of it.
It is a couple of days, probably almost 3 days, march from here to the east.
Yes,
There was a wonderful inn just outside of town, the Drunken Pixie. Be a good place for information, trading, so on and so forth.
Would you be able to send a letter?
Would I be able to send a letter to whom?
I'd rather not say.
Or perhaps I should ask to where?
To the kingdom of Sundi,
Far to the south, I believe.
very far south.
We'll have to ask if Kurlis could help us with that.
Who?
Kurlis Belden, he's the military leader that will be coming in later today.
Kurlis.
Kurlis.
Yeah.
But if it is possible, we would certainly love to help with that.
All right,
I hope
much
you,
appreciated.
I hope you don't mind my asking. I'm not super familiar with the nation of Nairon in and of itself.
Yes.
Do you not have a standing military?
Nairon does, yes.
Then
And Kurlis is amongst the Nairandese militia.
why do you need a militia and a military?
That's what they call it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Normally, a militia
Yes.
is in like a place that doesn't have an established military. So.
I guess in that case, that we would be more of a militia than they. But yeah,
All right, I have another question
please.
that's somewhat pressing to my person. Are we able to take a bath here?
Certainly.
Excellent.
I'm glad you asked, actually. He kind of
Yeah.
chuckles.
Yeah, I don't usually like smelling
Yes.
the way I do now. I like
Yes.
to keep myself clean, but you know, being in a dungeon and all.
Being in a dungeon and all, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can arrange on the back of the storage building. We've put together a bit like a shower arrangement, and it's quite private, and we can get you set up with that if you wish.
I'd very much appreciate that. Yes.
And we can also we sleep in the trees, and we have small tree houses available. They wouldn't fit more than 2 of you unless one of you happens to be a minotaur. But you may each have your own sleeping and meditating space if you wish, and we can show you to those whenever you need to or wish to have some downtime. You must be tired. You know, you've been through quite a lot in the last few weeks.
All right.
A bath sounds amazing. The last one I took was a bit acidic.
Kind of
Yeah, I
tilts
bet.
it. Rowan kind of crinkles her nose.
She dived
Excuse
into a pool of acid.
What?
For an item that was
Crazy.
admittedly very useful, but we did not know that at the time. So, Take that how you will.
Brave and perhaps not wise. But I'm glad it all worked out all right, Rowan said.
Yes, I did not always look so dashing with these scars.
I'm sure.
Eyeball really adds some flair, I think.
All right, well, if you're ready, I can show you to your accommodations.
That'd be very much appreciated.
We'll have supper about 2 hours before sunset, and we can talk long into the night if you wish. But if you wish to rest and get cleaned up, we can take care of that for you. And Tano and Rowan stand up and offer you their handshake. A little bit of back clapping. They don't seem as stiff and haughty as you might have expected elves to be. But these are elves of the road, of the wild, of the wilderness. They're not all fancied up and high elves, if you will. So they'll take you outside the longhouse. And again, a longhouse it's very Spartan. It's very rustic, beautifully crafted. Again, think arts and crafts bungalow style, but not opulent in any way. But it's clearly of elven make. And they bring you out and they show you around the back side of the storage building. They've put together what appears to be some sort of a pumping mechanism that must go down into a well, and they're able to draw water from the ground. And so you can bathe with that, and it has like a little building kind of erected around it for privacy, so you don't have to worry about all of that. And then they show each of you to one of the, the base of a big tree that has a fairly sturdy-looking rope ladder hanging down, and you can climb up there. And if you look up, you'll see a platform with a hole right near the trunk. The ladder goes up through the hole, and you can make your way up into your quarters.
All right.
So you've lunched. It's early afternoon. You've been speaking with Tal and Rowan all morning. You're pretty wiped out now that things are sinking in, and it's been a big couple of days since leaving the queue and leaving your friend behind. And that's where I'll stop talking.
Thayers is heading for the shower. Too sweet with that one.
Yeah, same for Pavel.
Once Tarla gets her stuff taken care of, she'll go shower as well.
Okay.
First thing I'm gonna do, since no one else is around, is I'm definitely tearing up a very specific piece of paper. Because no one can stop me now.
Oh.
And I'm just making sure that it's gone. And then I'm gonna go take a shower.
Shannon.
Abby?
If any of you go up to your accommodations, again, very Spartan, but there is a small, sort of like a bedroll on the floor once you get up in the platform, and it's actually a wood small little tree house basically, just built up in the arms of the tree, and there's enough room. There's a small chair, and there are a couple of kind of crude beds laid out that two people could lodge in there. There's two chairs, and there's actually hanging in each of them a place to build a fire, like a metal brazier, where you could build a small fire for assume warmth and light, or there's a sconce, just a rough sconce that's been tacked into the tree trunk that you could use to put a torch. And there's a window that you could look out into the canopy. Other than that, it's maybe 15 feet square, basically, maybe 15 to 20 feet. Not huge, but big enough that you can stretch out and get some quiet time and sit and have fire if you wish.
So, you said Lathyrus could be up there with somebody. His weight won't be an issue.
Your weight won't be a problem, but room-wise, it'll be tight with one other person.
All right.
He'll be snuggled.
As long as he's not by himself. All right. So I'm out of the shower, drying off. Big puff up. And I'm gonna trot off to, I guess, the general treehouse area. I don't know which one I'm going in yet.
Yeah. There are elves moving about, not a ton of them, a few here and there. You can tell some appear to be sort of maybe on watch. They look to be very focused on, keeping an eye out and so forth. And Flint, make me a perception check, please. Are you up in your quarters or?
No, I'm probably just getting out of the shower and
Okay.
my armor back on. So. Perception, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, dropped it. Yeah. That's gonna be a 14.
14. Yeah, so you notice a couple of familiar faces among the elves. And that seems to strike you as a little bit odd, like, how the hell would I know anybody here? And by familiar, I don't mean recent, but some time ago.
I'm gonna go up to them.
Okay. Lathyrus, you're going to your quarters. Harlow, what are you doing?
Once she showers, she's just gonna go, I think, find somewhere to sit, probably with her legs out over the platform, and take out some thread and work on her shirt.
Okay.
Or are you in the quarters?
I was, but I think she's outside on one of the platforms now.
Okay, I'll just join you instead.
Okay.
I don't know.
Pavel, what are you up to, buddy?
I'm sitting in whatever area I chose to take, whichever room I chose to take, just sort of staring at all this collection of magical book stuff that I basically can't use and being very frustrated about it.
Yeah. Excited yet frustrated.
Yeah, basically.
Brand new Christmas gift. I have no idea what the hell it is, but it looks exciting.
No, the problem is I know what it is. I just don't have the batteries to run it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Battery's not included.
Yeah, I got a brand new Xbox and no games.
Mm-hmm.
And no credits to download. Yeah. Okay, so Flint, you look to approach these two that seem familiar to you?
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up and say, excuse me, this might be very strange, I know I'm not one of you, but do I know you?
And then you notice a smile, a familiar smile, come across this elf's face. And they bow slightly and nod. Of course you do. Flint, is it?
Yeah, how do you know me, though? I don't understand.
I don't believe you don't recognize me. And they grab your wrist and look at your bracelet and they smile. It is I, Reuven Bison. You don't recall? And then a more slightly built, apparently female. Gwynestry. It's me, Gwynestry. You don't recall us, Flint?
The band.
Gwynestry's children.
It's been years. I didn't.
Yeah, that's us. They seem to be very excited to see you.
I'm glad to see you're well. Where's I can't remember his name.
Harik Pilar.
Where is he?
He's out scouting. He's out with his small team. He'll be thrilled to see you. Come, let's talk.
It is good to know that you are all still alive. I sort of assume that most people that meet me meet their end rather quickly.
Oh, no. Not us, no. Takes a little more than the bandits of the Folks would to erase us from memory. Come, let's talk. Let's go sit where we can talk. Who are you here? What brings you here? When did you arrive?
We arrived this morning. To Neil. No. Yes, you'll notice some rather strange faces around camp. The Minotaur and
You're with the Minotaur. Oh, I should love to meet the Minotaur. They're both like.
Well, I'm sure that can be arranged. He is a a delight to put
Reuben's
into.
their eyes just light up. I would love to meet the Minotaur. When can we do that?
Well, I'm sure he's off showering or relaxing at the moment, but I'm sure around summertime.
That's good. Good, glad tidings indeed. Gwyneth says. She kind of. We knew you were here long before you arrived, as is customary with most travelers, of course. So you had counsel with Tanel this morning?
Yes.
In Rowan?
Yes, some strange findings from the Kesketin. I'm sure you've heard of it.
And their eyes light up. Kesketin? Is that really a...
It's real and it's awful, and I highly recommend you stay away.
My goodness. Well, you must tell us all about it. Have you eaten?
I've honestly, after finding out a few things about certain people, I've lost my appetite.
I see. Well, we must meet your friends.
I'm just gonna look up. Do I see Harlow and Lotharis on the platforms up there?
Yeah, you can see them. They stick out, one of these things. Yeah, you see legs. And I guess hooves.
I'm gonna holler up. Lotharis, Harlow, please come meet my friend.
Leans over. Hi. You all come down?
Yes, please.
Their eyes light up. Reuven in particular, Reuven is like,
Hey, Harlow, do you want to come down with me? You're mute.
Yeah, might as well. And she'll pull her tunic back on over her undershirt and follow him down. And take her sword with her.
Oh. I didn't know
No,
you
she
were...
was covered. Just there's a shirt underneath.
Okay.
He's a little country boy. He hasn't seen nothing like that ever.
She was
She-
preparing her
well-
tunic.
Right, I missed that little detail. Anyway, well, it doesn't matter. You'll just be like somewhat shirtless together. He's not in his armor, so down the ladder we go. Still, yeah, he's just straight up not wearing a shirt. So I guess he's just in his little weird shorts, just on over.
Please tell me he just has booty shorts that say "juicy" on the back.
brat.
I picture Lotharis as a jorts guy.
He would. Yeah,
But as all good jorts are made, they're not store-bought jorts. These are
They're
worn
all-
jeans that you turned into jorts.
Yes, these are
Exactly.
jeans gone bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I intended for him to have pants at first, but then my original artist commission put him in like little shorts. I'm like, you know what? Why not? He wears shorts now. So he's trotting over in his jorts.
As Harlow, as you and Lotharis come up to Flint, you see two elves, one larger than the other, both lithe and slender. They're sylvan elves like the others. The smaller one is clearly female.
Mhm.
She has a longbow at her back and a scimitar on her hip, gray cloak, typical. The other one's a little larger, but you have no idea, male or female. Hard to tell. And so Reuven, the larger one, kind of meets you before you get, clearly excited. Look at this magnificent beast. What is your name, Minotaur? I am Reuven.
Glances at Harlow, glances at Flint. But Lotharis?
And they offer their hand. Reuven, Bysine, well met.
Alright. Big old shake. Hey, how do you do?
And they're like almost inspecting you, like this wonder, turning her hand over. Look, Gwen, a Minotaur. And she's equally just blown away. And she bows. Gwen, call me Gwen.
Alright, no need to bow. Why are you bowing?
Yeah, and then they've been so enraptured with the Minotaur, they glance over at Harlow, And then their eyes, if they could possibly get any bigger, get bigger. Are you a tiefling? A golden tiefling? Behold, Gwyneth, a golden tiefling. How magnificent.
They sound like they're at a zoo.
I'm not a sideshow act.
You are not a sideshow act. You are correct. I'm just so captivated by your marvelous visage. You must forgive us. We spend so much time in the woods these last decades that we don't see such magnificent creatures as minotaurs and earth genasi. Golden.
Arla's gonna pull herself up and just again go full noble, so back straight, shoulders back, and cold eyes. Just
Reuven, they stand back and they greet you with cold eyes. May I? And they make a gesture for your hand.
and she'll take their hand and do the usual greeting that's expected.
And they'll, lady, and Gwyneth will curtsy. Please, our apologies for being so crass. We're marveling at your 3 amazing creatures. So honored to make your acquaintance. Welcome to our camp. Welcome to Arnduland. We're so honored that you're here. Is there another with you, though? I thought there was a 4th. In fact, a 5th.
A rather scruffy human named Pavel.
Well, I hope we can meet him soon. So,
I'm not sure where he ran off to.
has Flint told you about us? Reuven asked.
No. Not a word.
No.
Flint. I am saddened by this. Have you time for a story? Surely you have time for a story.
I suppose.
And Gwyneth whistles. And a couple of elves saunter in, smile. Please, some elvish water for everyone. And they just kind of cup a squat under a tree. Let us tell you a tale that Harlow and Lethiris, I think you'll find rather amusing. Oh, I love to tell tales, Reuven says. It was a cool spring morning in the heart of Fostwood. Our hunting party was traveling far outside the usual area, far from here, in fact. Really just in hopes of finding more game. Herrick, I remember Herrick saying something about variety being the spice of life, and let's just go on a little road trip. And 4 days in, the spice of life became less spicy. It was a long, long trek. The weather had been bad, 3 days of rain. But I recall the weather breaking and our morale was high, our hopes were high. And Gwyn spotted this magnificent buck. All of us are great shots, but Gwyneth and Harik know that Reuven nods to themselves. We are clearly the best shot. And Gwyneth kind of So I took a quick shot and I struck the animal in the shoulder, and of course it dashed off and the hunt was on. We chased, we ran, it jumped, as bucks do. But after a bit of cajoling and some usual reverie from Herrick, we found the animal. And as we began to field dress the animal, I still have to laugh when I think of it. Has anyone ever eaten an eye? And Reuven kind of makes a sign like and pops. It's a wonderful way to celebrate an honorable kill of a magnificent beast. And Gwyn, you can see just like the color kind of leave her face for a minute, as you know she's really reliving the moment. Unfortunately, as will happen in the wild, we were put upon or set upon by bandits. Bandits with crossbows, as I recall. And we weren't being careful. We were having a little too much fun. And they got the drop on us. And of course, we weren't impressed, and we thought that we could take them. And as they began to threaten us and move in on us, an arrow comes out of nowhere, strikes a bandit in the forehead, takes it off its feet onto his back, dead as could ever be dead. And then another arrow, and another bandit down, and another arrow, and another bandit down. And I'll never forget, and he kind of cracks up, the leader pissed himself right there in front of us. And this diminutive, scrawny, gray ashen little figure stepped out, revealed herself. And I'll never forget this, standing on a rock. What are you doing in my forest? And he almost shivers when he closes his eyes. You could tell he's recalling the moment. And the leader curses, a kid. And he looks around at his dead companions. You've been taken down by a kid. And he lunges at her, and she drops an arrow into his leg, curses again, down he goes. And she leans down. Another arrow knocked. What are you doing in my forest? And she looks at us, and she looks at him. You were going to hurt the elves, weren't you? Weren't you? She yells at him, and he kind of does that, kind of. No, I never forget. Pisses himself again. It was all just a misunderstanding. Typical, you know the deal. And then she mocks him and says, you won't be saying anything at all. And kills him right there in front of us with another shot through the throat. And you see Gwyneth looking at Reuven and nodding, like almost in shock again. And then almost she turned on us. And all she could say after we gave our thanks and bowed in reverence to her incredible archery skills and bravery, this little scrawny teen, and she says, what are you doing in my forest? And of course we tried to explain we were just hunting and so forth. Now we're thinking, oh my goodness, perhaps we may meet the same fate as this unfortunate group of bandits. She said, this is my home. You may take the buck. And as she's doing this, she's searching the bodies, the thugs. Yet all she took were a pair of boots, a ratty, worn waistcoat, and a few belts. And as we were watching this, she actually made 7 tick marks in one of the belts. It's fresh kills, I suppose. So finally, my shock left me and my faculties returned. And I asked the child her name, without even looking up as she's gathering things and so forth. Flint, she says, gruffly. Flint. Now we asked, where's your family? Is anyone with you? It's just me. No one's with me. I live here. This is my home. She did mention that I am a good hunter, so at least she has an eye for skill. And Reuven kind of winks. And then I'll never forget, she asked me, what what were you eating before that it seemed to make your friends ill? Oh, the eyeball. So I popped it out of the buck's skull, handed it to her, and if you never believe it, she looks at it, admires it, pops it in, and Gwen looks at you and she's like, "What?" Flint allowed us to stay as long as we promised not to dishonor Elona and her home in the Fostwood. We asked about family. She never gave us an answer. We asked her to come back with us. No answer. And as a thank you, we presented her with a simple gift. And he nods at you, or they nod at you, Flint. Gwen nods. And I'm so pleased to see you still using the bracers.
They've served me well, just as you said.
And Reuven kind of gets up and comes over and gives you a hug. And they hug you tightly. And Gwen comes over and hugs you. It's good to see that you're well.
As well as one can be in circumstances that we find ourselves.
Yes. So what circumstances have brought you to Underland?
Well, we found a mysterious artifact that we were hoping a wizard of some sort that you might have could help us with, and she did, Rowan.
Rowan, yes.
But also, Tanil, he found my parents.
Oh?
In the Black Mines.
Yeah, and like the color just leaves their face. The color leaves her face. And they bow. We're sorry. Most sorry.
So now I come asking for help to end their evil in those mines. My friends and I seek to destroy it, and I seek to put my parents to rest.
Wow, that will be some task. Tenel and his companions tell a dark tale of their brief visit to the Black Mine and the Blue Hills and all the things we hear happening over there. You have a tall task before you. What can we do to aid you? And they look at Lethiris and Harlow as well.
Do you know of any specific ways that will help fell the dead?
Yes. I'm afraid we don't have much experience with the undying and undead. But I believe you may find some information about the Black Mine in the city of Neural, which is west of the Blemu Hills, the closest large city. And you recall you went through Neural on your way from Edgefield to the Q.
No, we skirted that.
Or skirted it, but you were there. Yeah. You crossed a river, skirted Neural, and crossed another river. You might run into some gnomes. I think you might have seen some dwarf butt.
Yep. Indeed.
So yes, there should be information on the mine and perhaps the history of the mine in Neural. But unfortunately, we have no experience. Might be wise to have a holy person in your company. Sure, you will call upon the magics and strength of Elona before your journey is ended.
We will stop this. I will stop this. Or die trying.
We will certainly aid in any way. I'm sure Tenel said that we'll help provision you, answer any questions we may be able to answer.
Now, thank you for your hospitality and your continued friendship, Reuven. You as well, Grunetstri.
It's so good to see you, and so nice to meet you. And Reuven, again, perhaps a little awkward. My apologies for going on and on, but I mean, a Minotaur and a golden tiefling and a water gymnast here in Arnduin. And Gwyneth kind of giggles and rolls her eyes. And, are you kidding right now?
Can you tell me what is a genasi? So many have called me that, and I do not understand.
You do not know what you are?
I always thought I was just a particularly ugly half-elf.
No. No elf at all. And they kind of look at each other, almost like they're debating, like, okay, do we want to say what? You know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Aggressive clicking.
Yeah.
I have an ad that just jumped on top of what I'm trying to look at, and I'm just so depressed at the moment because I'm trying to pull something up. Ads by Google, go away. I believe, if memory serves, Reuven scratches their chin. One of your parents must have been a genie.
No.
And one
No. My
one
father was a human and
elemental.
was a half-elf.
An elemental.
That's impossible.
How? Why? Why do you say that?
Because my father was a human. He owned a bookstore. My mother was an herbalist. She worked from home. She was a half-elf. She was not... None of them had
Lynn?
magic.
Both my parents were human.
We listen to you very patiently, very attentively.
At that point, I'm gonna undo a couple buttons on my armor, my leather hide shirt, pull down to my collarbone and show off this glowing amber fissure in my chest and say what does this mean?
They kind of take a deep breath. You are of elemental origin. The 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air. And I would say and they kind of look at each other. Gwyneth, I think you're earthen. Your color, your amazing courage and strength and grit. And she looks over at Harlow and Lethiris. You do not understand what we saw in this child. She faced down 7 bandits who had us dead to rights. I shudder to think what they would have done with us. This is a special warrior. Genie is part of your lineage. A genie and a mortal. Could have been human, could have been elven. Hard to say. But because of your lineage, with the genie. You have been bestowed with elemental characteristics.
I'm a rock.
And your race
You're
is
saying
called
I'm
Genasi.
And you're only part rock. I'm not there. That was
Yeah. Would have been a nice entrance, though.
out of character.
Yeah, would have been a great entrance, though. So you've not known this about yourself.
No.
Well, I suppose if you grew up alone, who until now would have been there to tell you?
Everyone just thought I was deformed.
Oh, no, child, no. Reuven just shakes their head. No. Not deformed. Perhaps in large humanoid, demi-human centers, you may be looked upon as outcasts, but we know better. And you should too. And they look at you very seriously. And Gwyneth smiles. What a day this is. What a day. My goodness. They're just so excited to see you and to meet your friends. Soon it will be time for supper. And Curlis should be here at any moment. And he will probably take great interest in your cause and in your travels. Why don't we prepare for supper? And by the time supper is ready, Curlis should be here. How does that sound? They kind of stand up and stretch. Reuven looks at Gwyneth. How is that for a story? She just rolls her eyes at them. You're no bard. She smirks.
Please let us not talk about bards.
Reuven cocks their head. Pray, what's wrong with bards? They smirk.
It is a very long story, not one that you want to hear.
Well, now, Flint, you've guaranteed that we're going to have to talk later. And they kind of wink. So we'll see you in the longhouse at supper time. They kind of bow and take their leave.
Wait. He jumps up. Wait. Not to, diverge from the subject, I'm just curious. Alright, you two are fairly well traveled, right?
Throughout Nyrond, the Gamboge, Folkestwood, this part of Orth, yes.
Do you happen to know the slate forges?
The traders.
Traders.
Yes.
Do you know
Yeah,
if they've gone back on their route recently?
Oh, you'll see that if you take to the trade road. You mentioned Stonemeat, right?
Stonemeat. Yes.
You'll see them there, I'm sure. You'll see them there or on the way there. Oh, yes. Slate forges are well. You know them?
I do. They're friends of mine. Oh, I'm so glad to hear they're okay.
Oh, wonderful. They're wonderful.
I was so worried. I've been gone for so long. I didn't know if they'd left already.
They are up and down the trade routes in these parts frequently. Sometimes our group will provide them entertainment as they pass through the Gamboge. And Reuven kind of smirks and
Yeah, they're a fun bunch.
for dwarves, they're quite wonderful, yes.
Sure. I wouldn't know. I've only ever met the couple.
Gwyneth smiles. I'm sure you'll see them. If you decide to go to Stonemeat, I'm sure you'll see them on the road or see them. Be sure to visit the Drunken Pixie.
Drunken Pixie.
Yes. Wonderful inn, wonderful tavern, wonderful food.
Fantastic. That's excellent to hear. I'm so glad. I hope we can stop down that way.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Plus, it is on the way to, if you decide to go to Neural, the Black Mine, and so forth.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. 6 out of 10. Thank you very much.
Well met indeed. And they excuse themselves and head off in the direction of the longhouse, leaving the three of you standing there, looking at each other. And I want to just say for our viewers and for the rest of you, thanks for bits. Yeah, Chancer's throwing some bits. 12-sided guy dropped some bits. Thank you so much for that. We can use that. I think we've now got a divine reroll, so that's pretty cool. And the tale that Reuven told was penned by none other than our friend Miss Shanalogic. So I had to
character.
I had to reshare it in oral tradition format rather than just read it because it wouldn't have, the context wouldn't have been quite right. But that was Flint's, one of Flint's backstory tales. So thank you for that extra bit of lore, and I wish to give you an inspiration for that.
Oh, yay!
Yeah. Good bit of lore. All right. So what would you like to do, gang?
Well, that was a lot.
I'm glad you believe us now. Also, that's really cool.
It makes hunting at night very hard if you're not wearing a shirt.
I bet.
Yeah, but hey, saves on torches.
Yeah.
You're
That
on your
was
all night light.
yeah. So that was a impressive story, for one. Also, I didn't it's neat that your mom was an herbalist, if you don't mind me saying. I don't know if it's a sensitive subject.
I'm trying to remember them more fondly than what happened.
I understand that. My one of my mothers is a bit of an herbalist herself, although she dabbles in other things here and there.
Yeah, she wasn't a professional or anything. She didn't do it for money. It's just what her family had taught her. And
Oh yeah, mine doesn't either. It's more of a hobby. I actually don't know what she does for money. She's a very eccentric woman, let's put it that way. I'm sure you could possibly relate. I think you'd like her, actually.
I'm sure I would.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me wonder if my family's house is still standing. If my father's bookstore.
Maybe one of these days we could find out.
Once all is said and done, I hope to... I don't know if I could ever go back. It's pretty painful.
It just reaches up and claps you on the shoulder. Well, if you ever decide to go back, then I'll be with you 100% of the way.
What did we ever do to deserve you, Lathyrus?
Save me from a gnome, apparently. Or we're all just be nice people.
Well, I don't know why you think that about us, but it's good to know we have tricked you.
I don't know why I'd think any different. You guys have been real nice to me. I think all y'all are good people.
I'm gonna reach up and grab like the sides of his face and be like, if anyone is ever mean to you, I will kill them.
I sound just like Belle.
I'll help.
Oh, girls. At this rate, I'm gonna have a whole army of ladies at my beck and call. Just fight my battles for me.
Don't look into it too much, though.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, you're not my type.
Well, you're not my type either.
Oh, well, excuse me then.
You said it first.
I'm just gonna laugh and pat him on the back.
Harlow's just got her back turned and just hand over mouth just shaking because she's trying not to laugh out loud.
Alright. Now that we've established we're just friends. Yeah, like you're nice looking and all, but you're not my type.
Well, it's good to know I'm nice looking and all. I said, trying to mimic his accent.
As you all are shenaniganing and carrying on, you hear Tanneil's voice yelling, and you look over in the direction of the longhouse where you hear his voice coming from, and he's kind of hanging out the door with the door open, bidding you to come to supper.
All right,
I'm probably go grab Pavel.
I'm just gonna yell really obnoxiously, Pavel! And hope that he hears us.
Dad, put on a shirt, you think?
I'm pretty sure the elves here will be too distracted if you do not. So
jorts are formal attire.
You might want
It's good etiquette to wear clothing at the dinner table.
Fair point.
It's good to have a noble in the group, isn't it?
Well, guess I'll go put on my armor. Walks away,
All right.
put on his armor.
So you're going to make your way in for supper?
Yep.
Okay. And you come into the longhouse, and there are several more elves in there now. And Tannel and Rowan are seated at the end of one of the long wooden tables. A few elves are putting down what appears to be roast meats, some mead, fresh honeycomb, bread, all sorts of sumptuous comfort food. But you notice one thing standing out that you didn't notice before, and there's a rather large human in chainmail armor with a cloak over the armor, some sort of a holy symbol, and kind of like hanging at his neck. And there is a shield against the hearth with some sort of sigil or insignia on it. And he's a large man with thick red hair, red beard, large dude, long sword at his side. And he is engaged in conversation with Tennel and Rowan. And as you enter, the three of them rise and come across the floor to greet you. And the man holds out a big arm to whoever's first and says, Curlis Belden, welcome to Underlanth. And he offers to shake whoever's hand is first.
Harlow put out her hand. Again, she's still in full noble mode. She was irked, so she's just.
Oh, milady.
And I'm not there.
Okay.
Hey, we shouted for you.
He regards Lathyris. Flint. Please, let's have supper. I'm anxious to meet you and share news and learn of your journeys and plans. Please, we're happy to have you with us. Big booming voice, kind of guy. And so you are seated, and all the food is at the table, and it is chow time.
Yay, food. Yeah, I'm gonna look around and be like, it's not like Pavel to miss out on free food.
Should one of us go get him?
I'll go find him. And then I'm gonna get up and leave and go start searching trees, I suppose.
Search the trees for Pavel.
I imagine we know which one each of us is in.
Yeah, we should probably figure out who's sleeping with who. I figured we should address that at some point.
Well, Flint's sleeping with no one, which is the problem.
I'm sleeping all by myself.
That's awesome.
Alright, let's figure this out actually. Who wants to sleep with who here? Because we keep dancing around the issue.
I'll
Well,
share
what do you-
with Flint.
Alright, girls and boys.
Girls' night.
Alright, now that's established. I guess go to the boys' hut. Meanwhile, I will just be with Harlow, I guess.
Aw, you guys are on a date.
It's a day. Kinda.
She's going improper etiquette if she can.
I don't know, fancy like nobles. I know some etiquette.
Yes, but everyone deserves a brush up. Now watch where your hands are.
Okay.
So you're at dinner, having fun, talking, and so forth. He asks you all manner of questions about your travels, your business. You can, I don't know if you want to role play all of everything you've told Tannel or anything. I would assume that you'll probably share the same information. He knows some of your story just because of what Tannel has told him. And so I come bringing some news. I think it's probably, if you wish to venture eastward, I should share with you some news. Intelligence, if you will. And he kind of regards himself clearly as an important fellow. King Linward, our beloved king of Nyrond, has been collecting intelligence and rumors of someone or someones in Neural amassing wealth fairly quickly and almost more than the economy should bear. We don't know if it's a political figure, if it's a military leader, if it's more than one person. King Linward is considering trying to find a way to find out more about this. As one might imagine, when one's border states or cities change demographic quickly or amass wealth or lose wealth quickly, causes one to wonder what is upon one's doorstep. It has been, the kingdom, the city has been growing. You know, Neural used to be easily sacked by the goblinoids and the orcs of the Bone March. And in recent years, they've easily held off any attempts to sack the city or waylay any of the military there. And so that's a sign that something is changing in Neural, and King Linward is curious. So perhaps if you're headed that way, you might keep an ear out, perhaps send word back. Our scouts no longer venture that far east after what happened with Tannel, Rania, and Elion. Very unfortunate. It sounds as if the Black Mine is infested with some awful undeath or something much worse, who knows. And Tannel kind of seems a little awkward. And he fishes out a little pouch from somewhere inside of his vestments. And he picks up a small item. Looks like a nugget of some copperish, reddish, goldish color, and sets it on the table. I had shared this. I wasn't sure what to make of it, my lord. But we found some of this material on the road near the Black Mine and in the Black Mine. And he picks it up and he bites it. Soft like gold, but redder. Perhaps this might be a clue, or might come to be something of use as our friends travel eastward. He sets it back on the table. Curtis picks it up, bites it. Feels like gold. Flips it to Harlow. You're of noble blood. What say you? Do you have a nature? What skills or background do you have, Harlow? Do you have noble history? Give me a nature check.
Okay.
And what's your background? Is it noble?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, let me double check. Yeah, she's a noble. Um. 14.
With a nature check, you're pretty confident that sure does feel and heft like gold. It feels heavier than it should for a nugget of that size, which is kind of a tip. It's soft, if you bite it or dig a nail into it. But the color is throwing you off. It's a much redder, copperier. Have you ever seen Black Hills gold? It comes from wherever the Black Hills are, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a coppery gold. That's what it kind of makes you think of.
Yeah, she's comparing it to her own skin. Is like,
yeah, it's more copper reddish cast to it than pure. It's clearly not yellow gold that you're accustomed to seeing. But for all other intents and purposes, it sure feels that way.
it looks. It seems like gold, but the color is wrong. There's too much copper. I have no idea what this is. I've seen rose gold, and this isn't it.
No, I too have seen rose gold. This is different, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Should be worth something. Sure, it can be minted. Art could be fashioned from it. So hang on to that one. Perhaps it could come in useful. So yes, King Linward will be sending a small garrison to the east. They will remain within our lands, but they're going to set up something not dissimilar from what you see here, but grassland style. Just to be careful. Somewhere along the Inspa River, west of the Adri Forest, south of the Flinty Hills. Just the king is concerned and wishes to watch his borders. Several days' ride to the northeast from where we plan to set up the small garrison to Neural, but one can't be too careful. So, would it be possible in return for our aid that we've given and will continue to give and such that we can, that if you do hear of anything that might be helpful to us, you might send word back by some means? Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't.
We would be grateful.
Like...
Especially if you hear of anything that could be of a threat to us.
Of course.
Tell me of this Lord Thanon, please. And he looks you over rather soberly.
What do you want to know?
If you are willing. Who is this chap? He sent you on a mission to the fabled Casketon, did he not?
Harlow's, again, paranoia, being very wary, just trying to get a feel for the guy. He sent us to the queue to look for something that belonged to his so-called father.
I see.
But what we found there was far older than what he appeared, what he looked like. I'm not sure Lord Thanon is actually Lord Thanon, as in Zeligar's son. Or something.
His eyebrow goes up and you say Zeligar's son. A bold claim.
Yeah, once we got there, we started to doubt it. What do you know about Zeligar? How long ago did he die?
Without magic or some divine intervention, he kind of strokes his holy symbol. It's like an 8-pointed star composed of spears and maces. Without magical or holy means, that Lord Thanon is no son of Zeligar's.
I didn't think. Well, now we no longer think so.
Where do you come from that you would not know that?
I'm from Relastra.
Never heard of the queue down there, I'm sure.
No. At least
What
not
about you, Minotaur? Where are you from? You're curious. I love your red fur, by the way. He kind of strokes his beard.
Thank you. absolutely zero choice in the matter.
As did I.
I'm from the kingdom of Sundi.
Hmm.
The
Wow.
around
Far to
the
the south, like Relastra.
around the central portion of that region.
Yes. Heard of it. Never visited. And
Well,
Flint, you're the one from the Fostwood.
We're still not there.
Yeah, I went to go get Pavel and I haven't come back yet.
Flint and Pavel are not there, so yes, never mind. Sorry, thank you. Swing and a miss. I see. Well, that would explain probably why he went to find you. To find people who wouldn't know.
Entirely possible. Perhaps we should hold the rest of this until my friends return. They're far more knowledgeable on this than I am.
Yeah. I'm a somewhat recent addition, so I'm not familiar with Lord Thanon whatsoever.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
So now the question begs, for what purpose did he send you out here? For Lord Thanon has some standing in the region, in Edgefield and in the Great Northern Kingdom. He's cousin, I believe, to the leader over there. And there's much unrest, much political posturing. King Linward has been watching High Meadow Manor, I believe. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tannel nods. The elves here have been asked to keep an eye out for the sigil of Thanon.
Why?
And just watch anyone who comes from the house of Lord Thanon. We're suspicious. And you have done nothing to douse that suspicion. In fact, quite the opposite. And we're grateful to you for helping to confirm that clearly something is not as it seems or as any of us are being led to believe.
Yeah, he's definitely up to some shit. I don't know what. We decided that we're not going back until we have a reason to deal with him for now, but whatever he sent us for is not gonna happen.
Well, then you will wish to take care on the road, for I know he has agents, many bards who travel and do his business for him.
He makes particular use of bards.
I know that there are several in his employ. I don't know why he chooses bards.
Deer's ears are kind of swiveling back, just clearly uneasy.
Based on what you've shared with me and based on King Linward's suspicions about Edgefield and all the politics going on there, I'd say there's more to Lord Thanon than meets the eye. I wish I knew more.
Yeah, I have reason to believe he's not as well.
I will say that all of his bards have sterling reputations in all their business dealings. Several of them will have business in Stonemeat from time to time. They've been to Wamtham here in Nyron. Never a trouble. Never an issue. No trickery, theft, skullduggery, any such thing. Yet,
they're very good spies.
They come from the High Meadow Manor, so who knows? Is there anything I or we may do to be of service to you? How long do you think you'd like to stay? Where might you go? How may we be helpful?
I believe we'll be heading to the Black Mines after this.
Yes, Tannel mentioned there's some business. He kind of nods his head at Flint, who isn't there right now, at her chair. Yes, Tannel filled me in on your companion's sad tale. It's very sorrowful. I will suggest this. You may wish to make for Stone Meat. Rest there. Learn what you can there. Be careful on the road. Bandits and the like. The road from Stone Meat, if you go due east from Stone Meat, you will be able to follow the road through the hills, through the grasslands, across the Inn Spa, and right into Knurl. That's the most direct way.
Okay.
If you are trying to avoid Lord Thanon, you'll need to keep your eye open for his bards and have your wits about you should you encounter one.
Of course. We always do.
You shouldn't be in too much trouble from bandits, brigands, and the like, demi-humans, until you get on the road through the hills. Our group here, Tannel, and our garrisons keep the trade routes from Wampham to Knurl through Stonemeat fairly safe.
Very well.
I'm sure Tannel has told you we will provision you. You may stay as long as you like. We are grateful for your news.
He also mentioned you might be able to send a letter out.
Oh, well, I certainly would if I can. Where would you like to? Perhaps Sunday? He smiles.
Yes. If you can assure me that it won't be intercepted, I'm starting to think that maybe I should start worrying about that. But
Oh, my goodness. We trade across the realms, across Flanness, and we will have trade going to Sunday.
okay, then
We could get a letter to the south if you wish. Yes.
Then let's see. I don't have my book on me. I guess I'll just tell you the address if you can, and I'll I actually need to give you the letter. I'll be right back. Excuse me, Harlow. Just jogs out of the room. Just grabs the book.
Maybe it's the time to cut to Flint and Pavel.
Yes, let's cut to Flint and Pavel. My goodness. Do you all want to take a quick break? How you doing that way?
Yeah, it's about time to take a break.
You want to take 5 real quick?
All right.
All right. Yeah, let's take 5, and when we come back, we will cut to Flint and Pavel and see what happens. All right.
We'll be back.
See you in a few minutes.
Bye-bye.
It's time for more D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Woo! All the cool kids are here. And so are we.
That means I'm a cool kid?
Yeah, you're a cool kid. All y'all are cool kids. The coolest kids of all cool kids are here. Hey, and Castle Max Steven is hanging out. What's up, dude? Okay, so you were having supper with Lord Carlos, Tanel, Rowan. Pavel has gone to Flint has gone to fetch Pavel, and we're going to cut to that scene now.
All right, I'm climbing on up into the tree.
Okay. When you get up there, you see Pavel is in the corner, sort of like angry facing, like arms wrapped around his knees. All of his books are just like sort of scattered everywhere. And the Star of Ages is on the bed.
You know, this isn't a very good way to be a guest. Messing up their rooms.
I fully intend to pick it up when we leave.
Well, while you are being angsty, we are eating, so you should come join us.
I'm not being angsty, I'm being frustrated. There's a difference.
They're very hard to tell apart when I just don't care. Let's go get food.
I'm not hungry.
Are you okay? 'Cause you're always hungry.
No, I'm not okay. Look at all this shit. All of these books are about magic. All of it. That's magic, that's magic. This book's about magic. That, and I point at the Star of Ages, that's magic. This is supposed to be my area of expertise, and I can't do anything with it.
That's why you're upset?
Yeah. How would you feel if you spent a good majority of your life training for something and then you couldn't do anything with it?
You've basically just described my love life.
Okay. Slightly different, but I understand your point. I'm not, like, my knowledge of magic isn't just from book learning. I was supposed to be a wizard.
What happened?
I can't cast magic. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's something wrong with me. I don't know why. I have a theoretical knowledge of magic that's probably greater than most people in this entire fucking continent, outside of game level, 10th level wizards and up. You know, that's a bit of a brag, or a bit of hyperbole. I can touch the weave. I can manipulate it to a certain degree. That's why I'm able to put magic into my arrows. But all this, I spent so long training, studying. I basically lived in seclusion in the Nexus with just a few other students, learning to harness this magical ability. And when it came time to actually be able to do anything with it, I couldn't. I'm sitting on this repository of knowledge and I can do nothing with it. I could cast half the spells in these books. They could have helped us out of so many goddamn problems. I might have even been able to save Stoneheart. I don't know. But I can't. I can't do anything with the Star of Ages that could potentially help us. All I can do is shoot a fucking bow. And sure, that's helpful in its own end, but I could do so much more, and I can't. I should be able to do so much more, and I can't.
I'm finding the more I spend time out of the Fostwood that I've been hiding in my whole life, that if you focus on what you can't do, you will never achieve what you can. You have all this knowledge. Just because you cannot apply it in the way that everyone expects you to does not mean you cannot use it. It doesn't mean that you are not a great person, and it does not mean that you've wasted your time. What it means is that you're different Pavel. That's what all of us are in this group. We are different. And people have treated us like shit for it. But we are going to show them that we are different for a reason. And that rock means nothing. It is a rock. It is like all the other gems we found in that place. Maybe valuable for gold or for power or for politics, but it is nothing compared to the knowledge that we have now. You have to understand that some things that are out of your reach are out of your reach for a reason. Sure, you could have saved Stoneheart. If I didn't run away, I could have saved my parents. But I did. I ran. I lived in the woods for years. I isolated myself. And one day a stranger came into my woods and changed everything. And that happened for a reason. I met you for a reason. Sometimes you just have to let things go, because they will eat you up inside until you turn into something that you don't want to see. So I'm asking you as a friend to just take it easy on yourself, because you are better than what you think you are. Now come and shove food in your face and be with your friends.
How do you let something go that was supposed to be your whole life?
I watched my entire life get taken away from me, and I still don't have an answer to that. I've watched countless possibilities of what my life could have been. Even just the other day. Disappear. Get torn up like paper and lost in the wind. Life sucks. The only thing you can do is, out of spite, keep living.
You know, my parents gave me away. They gave me to the Nexus. I don't have a family because of this.
We're your family, Pavel.
I just don't understand.
Sometimes there isn't a reason. Sometimes the reason is just 'cause. And your parents made a huge mistake, because they don't get to know you now.
I can barely even remember them.
I struggle the same way, but you know what? Sometimes it's not the family that you're born into, it's the one you make. Sometimes it's not the choices you're born into, it's the choices. And you need to choose right now. Are you going to hate yourself for not being a wizard, or are you going to love yourself for being Pavel, the arcane archer, who is definitely a better shot than me?
I dry my eyes in real life and in character. 1 second. Okay, now I'm hungry.
Good.
And
Because they have some pretty awesome food.
they fucking better. I can smell it. I was hungry, but I was like more mad than hungry. Okay, yeah, let's just go eat food. Yeah. And I assume that's when Lathyrus busts in to get his book.
I was just gonna say. I wanted to give you guys your moment.
Oh god, this treehouse has reached capacity.
trees kind of swaying as the Minotaur comes up.
You just hear the rung, like someone coming up the ladder, and then boom. Excuse me. Remnants to his pack, grabs his book. All right, you guys coming to dinner now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you there.
I'm gonna as I walk towards the door, I'll pat Flint on the shoulder. Thanks, and I'll, down the ladder.
What the hell did I just say? And just climb down the ladder.
Wow. So Flint, you have one inspiration now, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go rare, and you're gonna have a second one, and Pavel, you just got your second one, buddy. That was awesome.
I have no idea what the hell I was talking about.
That's good.
That's how
So
advice works, though. You don't really ever know what you're saying, but it's
right. Yeah.
It's how it works for me, at least.
So back to the longhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I will sit down and I will start shoving just a fuck ton of food into my face.
Curlis does introduce himself. Sorry that the ambulance and the cop shop is not too far from my house. And
I sort of like wave with a chicken bone as I'm like.
he appreciates your zeal for supper. So, have you come to any conclusions about your course of action, your next steps?
Yeah, we're gonna go fuck up some undead things in a mine.
He kind of smiles, strokes his holy symbol. There is valor in that indeed. How might we help you?
Provisions, food would be useful.
We can certainly provision you, stock you. Make sure your weapons are sharp and ready, oiled. And we will, again, our best suggestion would be to make for stone meat.
Yes, that was the plan. Stone meat to Nethil or whatever it's called. Neural. And then onto the Blemu Hills and the Black Mine.
Very well. Because I was telling your companions, while you're on the trade route, you should be reasonably safe. That's no suggestion to let your guard down, but our group does a decent job at keeping things reasonably safe. It's getting from here to the trade road back through the Flinty Hills that could be challenging. And also the trade road east of Stonemeat could also be.
I have a feeling that that our former employer won't be super thrilled with us, and we know he hires people out to search around for him. Then there's the matter of the orcish and goblinoid force that is amassing in the area. We are aware of the dangers, I believe.
What goblinoid force, orcish force do you speak of?
You're aware of the goings-on in Neural, from what I've heard, but you don't know of the goblinoid and orcish group that is amassing near Allfield? We were aware of that before we even left there.
We don't go that far east, through the Adri Forest over to Edgefield.
I'll pull that. I'll pull that image. This symbol was passed on to me by a trusted companion who lives in Relastra. He's a ranger of sorts, and I trust him to be very knowledgeable of the area. He said, I'm not sure if this is the symbol of the Force, but he said it's connected. Yes, we've been informed by multiple parties that there is a large force of goblins and orcs
Let's see.
gathering together.
This is near Edgefield.
Yes.
And he takes the symbol and just kind of looks. I mean, I'm well versed in the heraldry and the sigils of the Flanness, and I do not recognize this.
Well, then likely it's something
Must
new.
be from far away.
Or it's something new.
Or new. Yes. Well, then take extra care. And you say this is near Edgefield.
That's what we were told.
I wonder why nothing is being done. How on earth does it make sense to allow a large group of orcs and goblins to amass?
That was my first cause for suspicion for Lord Thanon personally.
Yes. Well, your friends have agreed to send any news back. We're going to be establishing a small garrison of military along the Inspa River in the east of our kingdom. And so if you do become aware of anything that we could use for intelligence and news, please send it back along the road or by whatever means you were able to do so.
Of course, Curlis.
Yes.
Yep.
Very well.
And then I'm going to just go back to shoving food in my mouth.
You had reiterated that you knew and kept an eye on Lord Thanon's bards, and that there were several. Who do you know of?
We know of Kalind, Zelweg. Those are the two probably most well-known in the region that get out and do the primary business for the High Meadow Manor.
What do you know of them?
As I mentioned earlier, they seem honorable enough. We've never had any cause to feel like we needed to stop them. Stories of thievery, trickery, anything. Their reputation is excellent out among the trade garrisons and communities and inns and taverns, yes. I've not met them myself, but I've never heard anything but positive.
That is all you know?
Yes, I'll give you my word.
I see.
He pats his holy symbol again.
Thank you. I suppose my need for information is more selfish than I let on, but thank you.
There's nothing. Pray don't consider it at all.
All right. Are you prepared to receive my my message?
The letter, yes. Yes, you have the information. I'll see to it that gets on its way to the south. I'll be writing back tomorrow morning. I'll just take a brief rest this evening and it's back on the road.
All right, thank you. He's carefully pulling some pages out of the book and then folding them up, and then he writes the address down and he hands it to Curlis.
Okay. Curlis will, there's like a pack hanging over the back of his chair. He will rummage around in there, and you see just a very Spartan wooden scroll tube, and he pops the cat, rolls everything up, puts it in there.
How long would you say it's going to take to get to its destination?
Oh, well, I don't know for sure when the next trade caravan will be leaving from our capital city, but this will be amongst the guard. And it's all of, boy, it's a good distance to Sunday. The ride is long from our southern border. It's at least 3 weeks to Sunday. So perhaps your people there may see it in a month.
Well,
Tis a long way.
yeah, there's nothing that can be done about it. I was hoping it'd be faster, but you know.
I will assure you it will go on the next caravan out upon my return.
All right. Well, sorry, there's bugs flying all over. My window's open.
I thought you bathed. Oh, out of character. Very nice.
Out of
Yeah.
character, yeah.
Perhaps you should bathe.
Should bathe again.
See what I did there? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
pretty low key. You're in an elven garrison out at the edge of the kingdom, so it's not a lot of merriment or anything, but a fire is lit in the hearth, and tales are told. Mead, elvish wine, not in great quantities, and elvish water. And after a time, Carlos stands and greets you all. I bid you farewell, and I bid you the strength of cord on the road to Stonemeat and beyond. And he bows
Thank you.
and retires.
So many bugs.
I'm gonna hang out with Reuven and Gwenestri and hope that Harik has maybe arrived back.
Yeah, he does not return. He's on an overnight, couple days out.
I'll
I'm gonna talk to.
Sorry.
I'm gonna talk to her and be like, so, what do you know about coffee?
The human morning beverage?
Yes, have you had it?
Don't much care for it. They
It's
kind of make this
amazing.
taste like
What, you eat eyeballs yet you don't drink coffee? I do not understand you.
I hunt, and I do not need coffee, for I am elven.
I don't think anyone needs it, but it is so much fun.
Do not drink what I do not need.
So you
But I will
tell
take
me.
your word for it. I'll tell you what, Flint, at my soonest opportunity, I will have coffee, and I will think of you. He raises his flagon.
Surely there must be an elvish equivalent. I quit. Flint just starts running through like all kinds of like plants that they know that are native to elvish country,
Would
trying to
I?
think like, what can I do? How can I make this a thing?
Would I mean? Would would I know the Elvish equivalent given my background?
Roll nature.
Sure.
See what happens.
Nature. There it is. 7.
So you're thinking about this, and you're just not sure that the elves have a coffee equivalent. They don't sleep. They meditate. They seem to derive their energy from nature, from magic, from one another. Elven water is such a thirst-quenching draft, energy. But nothing comes to mind about elvish coffee. Yeah.
I'm going to go up to Rowan, and I'm going to say, before we head out, if you'd like to talk magic theory, anything like that, let me know.
Oh, yes.
But not tonight. And I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to stop by the three of them, and I have to go clean a little bit, so good night. I'm going to go start cleaning up the room I trashed.
All right, I'll see you later.
Okay, what else would you, Harlow?
Harlow's gonna go sit back up where she was and go back to mending her tunic.
Okay. You can easily set a fire in the brazier. There's a little bit of wood stock up there in your tree house. So if you wish to do that, the kindling and everything you need is, dried moss and lichen for fire starter. They set you up. Flint or Lethiris, what would you like to do? It's evening time. It's well past dark.
I think I'm just going to be staying up and sharing stories of my life between now and when I had first met Reuven Sherry, because he does so love stories, just
Okay.
talking to them, catching them up on life.
I'm going to stay with Flint for a while, and then I'm going to eventually get up and just take a walk. Just wander.
Okay. Just around the grounds.
It's around the grounds.
Again, it's the grass is not overgrown. It seems to be cropped. There are sheep here and there, so you assume they're probably doing keeping the grass down to the kind of the turf level. There's elves here and there, a few, all again looking quite sylvan, hunting, long swords and bows. You could tell the ones that are maybe off duty versus the ones that are walking the watch. But it's pretty quiet. I mean, it's a lean, stripped down, rustic, elvish outpost. So there's not a lot of activity, and it is dark. There's a cloud covering the air, not storm clouds, just enough clouds where you're not getting any moon and stars.
Okay.
And if anybody's keeping track, this is day 18, the end of day 18 since leaving High Meadow. Anyone going to do anything else this evening?
I'm good.
Nope.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
It's worth mentioning, though, that Letherius does not go back to he and Paolo's room. He's just gonna keep on wandering around for the entire night, looking very pensive and worried.
Okay. Fair enough. So the night passes uneventfully. You are well rested. You feel like the elvish water has, their drinking water has done something to rejuvenate you in some way. The mead, while it did have a bit of a heady brew to it, leaves you feeling good, fulfilled, not nasty in the morning. You don't have like ashtray face and all that, from a hard night of drinking. You wake up feeling surprisingly refreshed, feeling good. And it is the morning of day 19.
Did we decide when we were going to leave?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk to that about Flint since these are her people, sort of thing.
So I presume you guys wake up and everything and come into the longhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you'll find breakfast is laid out. It's cheeses, breads, some fruits, a little more Spartan than the dinner was last night, and then lunch was more probably you would assume to be the standard tack. Tannel is there. Rowan is there as if maybe they were waiting to see you.
Okay.
Morning, friends. I trust you rested well last evening, Tannel says, rising to greet you.
Comfortable beds.
Yes.
Letherius isn't there, by the way.
Okay.
He's still around.
Still Letheriusing.
Mm-hmm.
So, we should probably get moving quickly. The longer we stay in one place, the more I worry that we will draw Thanon's unnecessary attention. No matter how remote we think this is, we have to assume that something is always on the horizon.
You speak wisely, Flint, says Tannel. Given the nature of what he sent you to retrieve, now that we've seen it, my assumption is that he will be looking for its safe return. And the longer you are gone, he may assume that you met with an untimely death, and he may have to assemble and send another group. I do not know what his thinking is on this. I can't imagine what on earth he would be seeking the Star of Ages for.
Speaking of, Rowan, Can this stone be destroyed?
That's a good question. Most things can be destroyed one way or another. I do not know enough about the properties of this, so I'm not sure entirely. Why do you ask?
I've been thinking that perhaps the best course of action to make sure this does not fall into unsavory hands is to eliminate it as a tool.
The problem with that is that often magical items of great power, let's just say they release a lot of power upon their breakage. It can be very dangerous to break a magical item if you don't know exactly what will happen or exactly how to do it.
I think Pavel is onto something with that line of thinking. I agree.
I think in regards to this particular item, we should keep it on us for a time until we can either find a safe place to put it, or, as the letter that went along with it suggested, until we can find a wizard that we find trustworthy and reliable enough to entrust it to.
I am more for destroying it, but that is kind of the brute force method that I use in most of my life.
That, we will keep that on the table. But if we decide to go down that method, I say we learn a little bit more about the object before we destroy it, so we can destroy it safely.
Right. Well, I say we move and we move quickly. Try not to draw attention to ourselves, which will be hard.
I also suggest we should fence some of the things we have, especially those tiles that Lytherus has. Traveling
Yes.
quickly with everything we've gathered, maybe not the best idea.
Tano kind of. You have a lot of extra gear, have you?
Yes, we have.
found
Items of value?
Yes.
See. Stone Meat is a trading hub. You're bound to meet someone on the road. That might be your best bet for exchange or sale. I certainly wouldn't recommend traveling back eastward with a great deal of treasure and such.
Do you know if they have much in the way of magic items there? I'm looking for one thing in particular.
If they have things there of anything beyond simple magic items, it would be on or with a traveling group like a trade caravan or merchant. There's no real magic shop, per se, if you will, magic item store shop in town.
Okay.
But you may be surprised at what you find on the road.
Well, we greatly appreciate your hospitality and kindness, but if we stay here, we may be putting you all in more danger than is necessary.
Fair enough, and we appreciate your willingness to speak with us candidly and send back any information that could be of help to us and to the Kingdom of Myron. We are ever at your service for that, for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to pull out my hand-drawn map of the area and ask them, can you point me in as accurate a way to where my parents are buried?
Oh, goodness. Great question. Let me see that map. He kind of takes a look at it. I believe the Black Mine is along the Tisar Tract, or Tisar Torrent, which runs along the eastern reaches of the Blemu Hills. And you'll find your parents' graves marked with small cairns about 4 miles south of the mine entrance. You'll find a small stand of cedars. And if you search there, you'll find the 2 cairns.
Thank you.
We were careful to keep them simple so that they look like they belong in the environment. But anyone looking closely will know that they've stumbled upon something sacred to someone.
Their
He
names.
kind of bows.
I'm gonna say their names were Strusser and Sonia Karsk. Please remember them.
Closes his eyes. Rowan closes her eyes, and they just kind of nod. It was our honor to see them to a proper ending. Thus endeth the moment. So I presume that you, good night, Stephen and Cranio Dad. Thanks for coming by with a raid. I presume that you will be on your way then. We can help you with provisions. Are your weapons in good shape?
And I pull out my bow. This is magic, so
Oh.
it's generally a tad more resistant to wear.
Yes, indeed. Beautiful, beautiful weapon.
I look at my bow. It's just the birch tree sapling with some gut rope as the string. I'm like, yeah, I think it will do.
We could certainly furnish a longbow if you prefer, or a short bow.
This has served me well. I'd hate to just abandon it.
Understood.
And you have generally shifted more to melee as well.
I suppose I look at my axes and there's like blood and guts kind of like in the grooves of them, and I'm like, perhaps I should see to these before I go.
We can certainly help you get an edge on those.
That'd be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. We'll see to it at once. Anyone else? Harlow, is there anything we can help you with, or Lethiris?
My sword is adequate.
Theirs isn't there.
That's right. Sorry.
That being said, maybe one of us needs anything.
Well, if you wish to ready yourselves, we'll see you off when you're assembled and ready to go. And at that point, if you need anything further, we can certainly help with that. You are about a day and a half, less than a day and a half's march due west of the trade road. So if you make straight west from here, you will cross the trade road, and then you'll take that to the southeast. So it would be a right turn onto the trade road.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you'll be day and a half to 2 days to Stonemeat.
Yep. I am prepped and ready to go.
I'm gonna go say goodbye to Reuven and Gwenestri.
Sure.
I'll go fetch Lethiris.
Okay. So you find Reuven and Gwenestry easy enough? Hugs are exchanged, tears are shed, backs are clapped.
I will tell stories of your bravery and of your kindness. I will miss you, friends, but hopefully
We'll
you.
miss you as well. Good Flint. Flint the Earth Genasi. Never, never be ashamed of your heritage. And we shall tell tales of your bravery and your enjoyment of the finer delicacies. And Reuven makes kind of a flip, like he's eating a deer's eye. Going at this like, really? Okay. Harley, you went to fetch Lathyrus?
Mm-hmm. Do I find
Okay.
them? I send Sonia out to scout as well.
Okay.
He's not too far away. He's sitting under that noise. He's sitting under a tree. If you're exiting, probably to the left. Just kind of sitting there. Ears are droopy. Looks a little tired.
Theris, have you gone to bed?
Oh, hey. No. I haven't.
Why not?
Oh, I got a lot on my mind. Worried about what we're gonna do next, and worried about my family. And I'm just wondering if I want them to know I'm alive, but they. mm, I left them without any warning.
She goes over and gives him a big hug and pats his head and all that good stuff, saying, I'm sure they know you're okay. And you sent them a letter though, didn't you?
Yeah, it's gonna take 3 weeks to get there. I've been gone for so long.
You miss your moms.
I do, but I don't want them to work because I'm alive. I don't want them to think I died because I haven't been able to send word to them for so long. In my last letter, I told them I was leaving, but I didn't specify where. They don't know where I am. Probably worried sick.
I'm sure parents do that. But I tell you what, when we get to the trading place, we'll write another letter and we'll see if there's anything there that we can get it sent faster. We have more than enough gold that we can see if we can get a specific messenger or something to get another letter there a little quicker for you.
Okay. I hope. All right. Yeah, sounds pretty good. We certainly don't have a shortage of money. I hope they're not too worried, and yeah.
Of course they're worried. They're your parents. I'm sure both of your mothers have a whole lot of brand new gray hairs because of you. You
Oh,
shouldn't have done that, but
I know. I wasn't expecting to get caught up in all this. I was expecting a small little detour, and then I was gonna head home. But man, if my mom ever gets a hold of me, she's gonna cuss me out something good. I'll tell you what.
probably. But hey, well, I hope the rest of us are around to see it.
And I think you'd like her too. I think well, all of you would like them. Pavel would probably like my mom in particular. We had a lot to talk about.
That's good.
Yeah, I'd like you all to meet them someday.
I'm sure we will. We've got a lot of road ahead of us, so I'm sure we'll end up there eventually.
I hope so. Maybe after all this is said and done.
And she'll attempt to pull him up to his feet because she knows she can't, but she's gonna like hug on his hand and try to lead him back. So, you need to get something to eat. We've got a long march ahead of us.
Are we
And you
are we
haven't
leaving
yet. Soon.
soon? All right. He's gonna lean down and give you a big hug, like pick you up a little bit because he's so tall.
I'll pat him and then scratch the top of his head.
Thanks, Harlow.
Mm-hmm.
It means a lot. And he sits it back down. All right. All right, let's go get some food.
And
Like
she'll
so.
send Sonya to sit on his on one of his horns.
Nice.
Looks a little
Nice.
happier for that.
Oh,
So you all make your way back to the longhouse, grab some breakfast for Lethiris, get your gear. The elves help you pack, and you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Tannel and Rowan are there to bid you adieu, take you to the east edge of camp. Again, just keep your wits about you in the hills. Anytime you're in the Flinty Hills, but specifically from here to the trade road, be most wary. And on the trade road east of Stonemeat through the hills, be wary. Otherwise, you should be in no grave peril.
Very well.
And they shake hands and offer embrace. We hope to see you again. And we wish you the best on your mission to rid the Black Mine of the evils that work there.
Thank you.
It's like Tannel almost can't even get the words out. It was that disturbing of a situation to him. And it's a beautiful, beautiful summer morning. Birds are singing in the trees. The midsummer smells. It's dewy, even though the sun's been up a few hours. And you're ready to strike out to the east.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a preferred marching order? You're going to be leaving this copse of trees fairly quickly and going straight back into the Flinty Hills.
Are we taking Bill with us?
Of course, we're taking Bill with us.
Bill's got most of our crap.
yeah, Bill's got all of our crap.
Just making sure. Since Lethiris is in the back with Bill, as usual, then.
I'll be in the middle.
I'll be up front with a pep in my step.
I'll walk next to Harlow.
Okay. So you set off, rejuvenated, energized, hope brimming in your hearts, gratitude for having learned a bit more about one another, and relief at making some friends who at least perhaps confirm some suspicions and set your minds at ease that there is good in this world and you're not alone. But I'm sure each of you has your own doubts and gnawing concerns. What lies ahead in the Black Mine? What's going to hit you on the way? What could happen in Neural? Will you meet any bards along the way? Should you meet any bards along the way? Should you take cover from any bards along the way? Oh, the bards. And so you, within an hour, you're out of the grasslands and the trees that surround the fair camp of Arndulanth, and you make your way back up into the barren, craggy, juniper, cedar slopes of the Flinty Hills. Loose rock, loose stone. You notice, though, you're on a bit of a track. Certainly not a road, but definitely a discernible path that winds its way across some streams and dry, larger riverbed here and there. Some copses of juniper, cedar, evergreen, shrubbery. And you make your way through and you recall this landscape right away. You're back in the Flinty Hills. You spent many hours If memory serves, you spent almost 4 days trekking through this somewhat of a wasteland to get to the queue. And you reach the crest of midday. It's warm. It is upper 70s, not particularly humid, not terribly breezy, partly cloudy. It's a nice day for travel. And you reach your lunch hour with no particular issue. You've gone probably about 12, 13 miles, probably about half of the distance you're going to want to cover today. Do you want to stop for lunch or keep going?
You're muted.
I didn't say anything.
No, Kayla.
Oh, okay.
You might as well take a quick stop just to
Okay.
sit down. Rest the feed.
They, I don't know how closely you checked old Bill, but they loaded old Bill with several large bags of elven water. They stocked you nicely with not the same bread you had at mealtime, but something that appears to be a little more roadworthy. It's wrapped very nicely so that it will keep fresh on the road. It's more of a whey bread than a fresh baked crusty bread. Some dried meats, some dried fruits. So you've got plenty to eat. And it's just as it goes in the Flinty Hills, a nice day in the Flinty Hills, I suppose. Anything you want to do at lunchtime? Or just going to get back on hey, kitty, get back on the road?
I'm going to take out that lump of coppery gold that
Yes.
the guy had given me, and I'll toss it over to Flint. And hey, Flint, what do you make out of this?
I think I'll have to make a nature check.
Roll with advantage.
Ooh, advantage. That first one's a natural 20, so don't think I need advantage. So that's going to be a 24.
Okay. So again, the weight feels like it should be gold. It feels heavy for its size, very dense. It's soft, like gold would be, but you're just struck by the color. It's just strange that it's not, because everything about this tells you it's gold, except the fact that the color's off.
What kind of color is it? Can you describe it again?
Yeah, it's like a coppery, reddish. Are you familiar with Black Hills Gold, Shannon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's along those lines.
I have a theory, and I don't like this theory. The only thing that I can think of that could maybe give this a coppery color, maybe not any form of element that we know. I think it looks like it's been soaked in blood.
That's not good.
And when the guy told us, where did they find it?
Tannel told you that he got that near the mine, and he said that there were nuggets of that all around and in the mine.
Maybe this is what they're producing. They're
Gold?
What the hell they're doing?
I'm gonna.
Gold?
Can I do like a medicine check to see if maybe this is actually like it's kind of reddish because of blood?
Certainly, yeah.
Let's see how this turns out. 15.
Okay. Yeah, you're not able to like scrape any off, or you might like, kind of lick your thumb and try to rub it off, shine it up a little bit. Because most people trying to check for gold, they're going to dig into it with a knife or maybe the edge of your axe. And if you're able to cut into it, kind of indent it a little bit, you can see that reddish is in the material. It's in the metal. It's not on the metal. So it looks like it's through the ore. Like that's what color that stuff is.
I don't know. Hopefully my theory is wrong and very stupid. So. I have no
By
idea.
all accounts, Flint, to you, this is gold.
Strange as it is, it could at least be worth something. Maybe someone will know more when we get to Stonemeat.
Potentially.
You should keep it. I just had it stuck in my bag.
Sure.
Yeah, Flint is kind of your resident gemologist.
Just because I made a rock doesn't mean I understand it, you guys.
Don't make assumptions. Okay, so you're going to take to the trail again through the afternoon. It darkens, wind picks up, and the temperature drops a good 10 degrees, and you begin to hear thunder off in the distance. See some flashes of lightning. And anybody with any outdoor sense, knows that there's a front, like a storm front of thunderstorms coming from the east, coming your way. And it gets fairly dark by the time the gust front hits. The dust, stings your eyes. You have to kind of shield them. Little bits of flint and stone and sand blast against you as pretty, hefty wind gusts as this storm, the big plops of the first raindrops come, and it begins to really thunder, lightning, and storm and blow. And you are now getting wet.
Yeah. Lathyrus looked
He is
excited at the prospect of a thunderstorm, but now he's like a little grumpy.
Harlow's
No.
looking for shelter.
He holds his shield up. He holds it over Harlow. I was about to do that.
There are enchiladas
Bird-
on the
Or
stove.
umbrella.
Isn't that nice?
She's slightly less miserable.
Yeah, you can get, there's hills and outcroppings and things, and you can find a place where you don't feel like you're going to at least be struck by lightning, and you can get under a couple of overhangs of rock. You've seen crevasses and what looks to be maybe the openings of caves and things, and you're able to find a little bit of shelter where you're not bone dry, but you're not going to get a tree dropped on you, or you're not going to get struck by lightning or anything. But it's wet. And water runs down, man. There is nothing. This is so stony here. It just runs. It literally, nothing absorbs. It just runs. And so you think, boy, I need to be a little sensible about gullies and natural waterways that we don't get into a flash flood situation, because it's running pretty good. It's raining. This storm lasts maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes before it finally, it abates, and it rains lightly for a while before. You can see kind of the back end of the whole thing kind of move off. And it was a pretty good thunderstorm. But aside from everything being wet and a lot of little rivulets and streams and things dropping down out of the hills, you think it's probably okay to proceed along. And you can see flashes of lightning and the thunder as it recedes away from you towards back towards Ardulant.
I miss cities. And
I don't know.
rooms.
The appeal seems kind of lacking.
You're biased.
Yeah, they both have their benefits, and
So it's getting on towards evening. Okay. So you're coming into your, you by your reckoning, you're probably close to 25 miles on the tires. You're dragging, you're getting tired, and it's probably time to set camp, stake bill down, build a fire, or whatever you're going to do. The good news about camping in the stony, rocky hills is they don't hold water, so you don't have to worry about lying on spongy ground.
Did the elves outfit us with any tarps or anything like that? We can make.
You've got solid bedroll, and that's about it.
Okay.
Can somebody hand me some flint? I'm gonna try to get some fire started with some of the dry wood we've had on Bill.
I'll toss her what's in my bag.
Okay.
Really should have given my flint away.
And you're in the Flinty Hills, so you may be able to just find some.
Yeah, it's not the same. That piece of flint was special. That's why they gave it away.
So I'm going to say, given your, I don't think we need to roll checks and all of that sort of thing. You're able to get a fire going, get some dinner going, and it's sun is setting to the west, back in the direction you came from. And can I get a perception from you all?
6.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Yeah, hang on. Internet's being a butt. Thank you for the +4. Awesome. All right, that's it. I'm gonna re-roll that. All right, 19.
Okay. Off in the distance from the south, Flint, you and Harlow and Latheris all hear what sounds like heavy scrufflings stepping a little bit, and then it goes quiet.
It sends on you.
Like something on stone. And so as you see through Sonia's eyes as she takes flight, 2 huge boulders. She squawks and makes her sound, and you see 2 huge boulders coming your way in the air.
I scream, move, duck,
Yep.
run.
Ha!
Okay.
Action dodge.
Make me a dex save.
It is a little spicy.
18.
Okay. And tell me if a 26 hits.
It might.
Okay. Okay. So this boulder comes crashing down through the scrub and the trees, right where Flint is sitting. Hang on.
'Brother, no.
24 points of bludgeoning damage as a rock drops wham, through the brush onto Flint. And that is where we're gonna stop.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So Flint is dead.
Yeah, I can't believe Flint died.
Yeah.
How much health does Flint have?
She has, what, 24 less, whatever the hell it is.
All right. Pretty good session, y'all.
That's where we're gonna end it, kids.
Okay. I think I was looking through the Dungeons and Dragons tab on Twitch, and I found a person who is streaming for the first time. Maya Lucis, I think is how you say it.
Man, that's cool.
So we will launch a raid on them. Thank you all. I'm
Real
Devin.
quick. Yes, thanks everybody. Devin, Kayla, raise your hand and wave and smile. Right, Kayla playing Harlow, Shannon playing Flint, and Abby playing Latheris. And I'm the Wily Howlett. My name is Scott, and I'm your DM. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and much gratitude and love for the Castle Mac crew for letting us take up a few hours of their internet space every other Wednesday. We love D&Ding here, so thank y'all for hanging out. Thanks to the 12-sided guy and Chancellor for bits.
And Cranio.
That's cool. Cranio for a raid, and there was another raid earlier that I missed.
Cretaceous
the name
Beard, I believe.
Cretaceous Beard, yes. So thank you all for the raids and the hanging out.
All right. Bye, everybody.
We're gonna see ya.
Bye.